If you're dating after 40 and you keep attracting Mr. Unavailable on repeat, and what you really want is lasting love with Mr. Right, you're in the right place. This episode is for you if you want to know how to get past the fear that it's too late to find true love. Let's get started. Welcome. I'm Truly Eleanor, intuitive dating coach, helping women over 40 find Mr. Right without wasting time on Uggs. Unavailable guys. After 17 years coaching hundreds of women around the world and overcoming my own patterns in my 40s to meet the love of my life, I know this to be true. Love is closer than you think. If you want dating advice that actually works, make sure you subscribe to my channel. New videos every week. This week, we're going to be talking about the fear that it's too late. I hear this from the women I've worked with time and time again, and I also had the same fear running around in my brain. What if it's too late? What if love is passing me by and that's it? I've used up my chances for whatever reason and I'm never going to find love. Another version of that would be I don't even know if anyone is out there for me. I don't know if the right person even exists. So these are basically fears that run in the background and they can really take over and be a huge nuisance and stop you from wanting to go out and date or even meet people because you're convinced you're already like, okay, that's it. It's over. It's too late. I'm never going to find anyone. I'm over 40. I'm over the hill. I'm over 50, whatever it is. And that's it. Time to close up shop in the dating world, get a tiny home, live down by the river, whatever it is. You're like, this is it. My version of that story is when I was in my early 40s and dating, I would date, but I would do it in a way like, well, this isn't actually going to work anyway, so I might as well just do this thing that's never going to work out. For example, I would go on dates with younger guys, knowing that it would never lead anywhere, but then also having this faint glimmer of hope, like, what if it does work out? But the prevailing energy and the main belief in all of that was that I thought it was too late, that I was too old, or that nobody would love me at that age, or that love, marriage, and all those things just weren't for me. And so I would do these subtly self-sabotaging things that would speak to that fear because I'm like, well, this isn't going to happen. So I might as well date this guy who's young and he's totally immature, or this person who's not ready for love because they're literally separating from their wife as we speak, or things that I knew were just a zero chance because it matched my belief in myself and really my belief in love and finding love. Today, as a coach and as someone who has personally overcome this, I wanted to walk you through, dive in and dissect this fear and talk about it. What is it really doing? And how can we get out from underneath it? Because it is affecting your choices. If you want to think about it now for a second, do you do what I was doing where you're dating, you're still taking the actions and you're saying, well, I am dating. I am open. I'm not closed off. I'm still open to love. And I do that in quotes. I'm open to love, but I'm doing all the things that will really not get me anywhere, that have almost zero chance of working out. Ask yourself, am I doing that right now? Because you might have this really strong fear or self-sabotaging belief, if you want to put it that way, that's running the show, that's making those choices for you. You might be familiar with that saying, well, just feel the fear and do it anyway. But I want to talk about why that actually works and why it's been such a long-standing saying that people live by, and it's a mantra in every sphere of life. Wealth coaches and every kind of coach will say, well, feel the fear and do it anyway. And I want to talk about why that actually works, because fear is not a barrier. It is a state of mind and it's a state of being. It doesn't actually stop you. It tries to convince you that, well, I'm this all-consuming fear. I'm this overwhelming fear. Therefore, I'm going to paralyze you to the point where you won't be able to do anything because of me, because of this fear that, I am within you. And that's just not true. The reason why people say feel the fear and do it anyway is the fear doesn't actually stop you. And if you don't stop and think about that for a minute and say to yourself, wait, I have this huge fear, and maybe in my darkest moments or at 3 a.m., I'm 100% convinced that it's true, it still doesn't mean that you can't do things anyway, that you can't actually go after what you want. Now, I'm not saying we want to keep the fear as big as this paralyzing type of fear. We want to really break it down to size so that we can at least take action in a way that feels good and not feel like you're pinned to the bed and can't move. You want to be able to do something still. So we're going to make it a little smaller, a little less intense, but I want you to just realize what it is. It is a fear, and it's not actually a physical barrier to doing something. It's not actually locking your door and not letting you go out on a date. It's not blocking everyone from messaging you on the dating apps. It's not stopping you from talking to people at singles events. It is a fear, but it is not a physical barrier. It is a state of mind. So just reframing it and thinking of it that way can help you. And I know it helped me immensely. I'll tell you a story about what I did around this fear. I was afraid love had passed me by, and while that fear was running in the background, meanwhile, I messaged my soon-to-be husband on the dating app, and we had this really funny exchange, and I was having that glimmer of hope, that moment where I was like, wow, this seems really exciting. But then my fear would argue, well, you're not going to be finding any love anyway, so don't get too excited. I thought, well, meanwhile, I'm going to go on this date. And I battled with this fear for the entire day. So it was our first date. And I kid you not, the entire day, and anyone who's listened to my podcast has heard this story before, I was fighting myself. I'm like, well, no, I'm just going to cancel because there's no point anyway. I'm not going to like him. And then I'd be like, but I have to go. I have this feeling. I just want to go and see what it's like. And then the coach I was working with at the time, she's like, it's just coffee, or it's just an hour. I was like, yeah, she's right. I've got to just do this. And then the fear would come in and be like, well, you're wasting your time. There's no point in even going. What if you don't like him? What if he doesn't like you? And then the funniest one underneath all of that was, what if he likes you and you like him? So that's this funny little thing that came up out of the fear. It was like, there's another fear underneath that fear. So maybe it's not actually about me being afraid that I'm going to miss out on love. It was afraid of, what if it all works out and I get everything I want and more? You can feel into that now. Do you feel like that is one of your fears? Often there's a big fear that's the obvious one, but then underneath there's another one that's very subtle, very insidious, and it's like the one that actually freaks you out the most. And no matter what kind of fear it is, even though we're talking specifically about this fear of that love has passed you by or that you're too old, there's often a lot of fears underneath those that are really the ones that are stopping you. And so I'm going to reframe this a little bit. Would you rather be in the fear energy? So think of it that way. Sometimes we get familiar with feeling afraid. We're like, this is just the way I am, the way I feel, the way I experience the world. Or I'm a fearful person, or I have a lot of fearful experiences. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I just want you to get really aware. And my framework is awareness and acceptance and connection. So if you put that through my framework, you want to be aware. Am I more comfortable in my fear energy as opposed to having what I want? Is it more of a comfortable feeling to feel fear versus contentment or joy? Think about that now. If you had everything you want, I always like to put people in this interesting scenario. What if you were sitting in front of the love of your life right now and he was saying to you, I'm so in love with you. And he's like everything you've ever wanted. And you both feel this amazing connection. And it's like, wow, this is really happening right now. What comes up for you? That, of course, I want that. I'm looking for that, and I'm open to that. It could be a little bit of nervous excitement. That's totally normal. Or are you saying, oh my God, no, I can't. I don't have room in my closet. I'm too busy right now. My schedule is going crazy. After I do this project at work, or after I get through the holiday season, then I'll be ready. I'm not really ready. And that puts a spotlight on, what if you were to have what you want? What if you were content and you had found what you were looking for? In other words, the search was over right now. Are you more comfortable moving directly or immediately into the fear energy of, no, 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 I can't have that. No, 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 this is going to happen. That's going to happen. And you're more comfortable going back into that versus, well, actually, that would feel really good to be content and to have what I want. Can I handle being content and having what I want is another way to put it. You can journal about these things and really explore. The more you explore, the more awareness you bring to it, the first part of my framework, the more you're able to actually see from a bigger picture, to look at yourself from an eagle eye perspective and say, yeah, I can see where this is a fear and that makes sense. And I tend to move into my fear energy when this happens, and I am willing to have contentment. Can you see how it's much more of a making choices based on that awareness? The second part of my framework, accepting. It's perfectly normal. It's perfectly okay. I'm totally normal to have this fear. It makes perfect sense that I would feel XYZ about this. And when you put that layer of acceptance into it, you can just, the world is your oyster, literally. It's like, that's okay. It's okay that I have these fears. It's okay that I've had this from the past and I understand why. And I'm fully accepting and I don't judge myself for that. And then you move immediately into the third piece of my framework, which is connection. It's true self-connection. The more you're connected to who you really are, the more you can connect to others in that deep and beautiful way. And the more it opens up those opportunities to meet others who are in that same space of willingness. When you put it all together, it's like, okay, I'm going to become aware. I have this fear that I'm too old. I have this fear that love has passed me by, and I'm going to accept it and I'm going to embrace it. And I'm going to understand that that is totally normal for me and my circumstance. And then I'm going to connect deeply into myself and find that beautiful desire in my heart for the love, the kind of love that I truly desire. And I'm going to anchor into that and I'm going to stay grounded in that desire. And then we go back to feel the fear and do it anyway. So despite the fact that I have this fear, that's the awareness, the acceptance, I accept that part of me and it makes perfect sense to me that I would be afraid. And I'm going to deeply connect into my heart in this moment and say, I'm going to live from this desire and move forward anyway. So you see how it all comes together. And as we talk this out, I feel like you can really expand into the possibilities and you don't have to get rid of the fear. You don't have to say, I'm going to crush this fear. I'm going to annihilate it. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to be courageous. You don't even have to do any of those things. You just have to be fully aware and fully accepting and then fully connect to yourself. And as you move through that, you'll be amazed at the opening in your heart and how you feel. And two things can be true at the same time. So going back to my date with my husband, I was arguing with myself for the whole day and my heart won because my intuition was telling me, just go. It's only an hour. Just do it, see what happens, be open to that possibility. It was a feeling inside me that said, just go. And the story goes, as people have heard before, I turned the corner and I saw my husband and my heart lit up like a firefly and opened up and went. It was like an uplifting, a literal lifting up of my heart and opened up and blossomed. It was the most beautiful experience. And of course, the rest is history. I'm married to the love of my life now, going on 7 years we've been together. Of course, I'm not going to say it's a fairy tale and everything's perfect. Of course not. But I have that deep soul connection that I was looking for. And every day is a beautiful gift together. That happened when I was in my 40s. And so even though I had that belief, love has passed me by, this is not going to work for me. And even if you're 50 or 60, I don't care. This still applies. You can do it anyway. You can feel the fear and do it anyway. So we've taken a somewhat cheesy saying and sometimes makes people angry that it actually works for a reason. We've gone through the ins and outs of why it works. A few more things I want you to really take in as you're listening, specifically around the fear of being too late. Like it's over, I've passed my prime, it's too late to find love. Think about too late means that it will never happen. That's what you're saying. Is that really something you can get behind? It will literally never happen, that you will not find love. Are you able to say that with any conviction whatsoever? The only way it will never happen is if you don't try or show up or you push away any possibilities for the rest of your entire life. Are you willing to put in that much energy to make that true? It will literally never happen for the rest of your entire life. Why not go with the other version of that where it says, I don't know. I feel discouraged right now. I'm at an age where I feel afraid it's going to be hard, or what if people don't like me, or if I can't find anyone? That's okay, because I accept that I'm afraid because a lot of what society tells me and the experiences I've had in past relationships, I can understand why I would have that self-doubt. And I'm also going to lean into the possibilities of what if that's wrong? What if I can find love? I hope this has changed your viewpoint of this fear and really transformed your experience of the fears that we feel are so big and so all-consuming that actually have no bearing on what you can do, and they don't stop you. Fears can't live in the light of day. So that's why you want to bring awareness to it. And fears can't withstand logic. That's why you want to have the awareness and also the acceptance of it. Going into, yes, of course, it makes sense logically because of my upbringing. It makes sense because of the betrayals I've had in relationship that I would be afraid that love has passed me by. And fears can't stand up to action. When you're in action, you're actually in motion, and your energy is focused on the action and the motion. So when I saw my husband and my heart lit up and I was pulled towards him and I was like, I want to go talk to him. And we had our date and it was 3 hours and we shut the restaurant down. Do you think I was sitting there going, oh my God, I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid that I'm too old. I'm too old to find love. No, I was talking to him. I was trying to get to know him. I was opening my heart to the possibilities. So when you're in action, it's like the fear can't stand up to that. The fear has no chance of standing up to that, to action. And so ask yourself in the closing of this podcast episode, what will happen if you go past your fears? Fear is information. It's awareness. It's acceptance. It leads to connection. It's a conversation. It's a past experience. It's a cultural norm, but it's not a barrier. And it's not stopping you. Someone's not standing at the door saying you can't go out, you can't go on that date. And my hope for you is that you accept and embrace this fear, but it gives you more of a chance to connect to yourself, that true self-connection, and allow you to open up into the possibilities and say, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to do it anyway. I wanted to invite you into something super exciting. I haven't done any live workshops for a number of years, and I'm starting them up again because I really want to help you in a live interactive setting. I'll be doing a workshop called Dating After 40 Made Easy: 3 Steps to Build Confidence and Spot Red Flags Fast. In this workshop, you'll move from dating anxiety and self-doubt to feeling grounded, confident, and clear on what real love looks like for you now. You'll learn to trust your intuition, spot red flags fast, and create a simple, aligned plan for dating with joy again. It's going to be super fun. It's 1 hour long, packed with action and intuitive exercises to help you with your confidence and your intuition and the dating plan all rolled into one. I'll have a link for that in the show notes that you can register for that. It's coming up on November the 20th at 12 p.m. Pacific time and 3 p.m. Eastern. So I hope you can join me. I'm really excited about that. We're going to do Q&A at the end. It's your chance to be interactive with me. If you ever wanted to ask me questions and talk about dating made easy, then this is the place for you. Definitely join me in my workshop. Thanks again. I'll see you next week. And remember, love is closer than you think.